Hello, Bucket Fillers. It's Carol McLeod from Bucket Fillers. I can't believe that it was just over a month ago that I was preparing for Hurricane Irma. I am one of 20 million residents of the state of Florida, and all of us were in its path, and none of us knew where this hurricane was going to hit. And it reminded me of bullying. It's like not directed at anybody, but it can hit you if you live in that hurricane zone or in a bully zone, which can be any school. So I learned from that experience that we really can't prevent hurricanes, nor can we totally prevent bullying, but we can prepare for them, and we can prevent the damage from them, which is an important part of the whole picture of bullying. One of the things that we have is a hurricane preparation guide, and believe me, before it came, we were reading this over. And we were, like many people, putting up our storm shutters, firing up our generators, making sure our loved ones who needed help were signed up for shelters, or we were determining an exit route. We were getting prepared so that we could avoid both personal and property damage from a hurricane. And I think that we have to look at bullying in the same way. We have to prepare children for the fact that not everybody is always going to be nice. When they head off to school, whether it's in kindergarten or first grade or preschool, we can let them know that most of the people that they are going to meet most of the time are going to be wonderful bucket fillers. But they may come across someone who does dip in their bucket. And we have to let them know that that can happen, and we have to prepare them for that event. So how do we do that? Just like with hurricanes, we start early. We don't wait till it happens, and we don't wait till the last moment. We start teaching them about the fact that people say and do things that can be mean, and it has nothing to do with them. We have to let them know that. I think the best way to teach also is to share your own story. I'm sure that all of you, including me, has a story about something that someone did, either back when we were in school or later in life, of dealing with a bully. Now, I'll share a story for you right here, and it's on page 21 of our book, and it's a true story. When I wrote the book, Have You Filled the Bucket Today, Dave Messing was the illustrator. And after the book was printed, Dave said, Carol, I put myself in this book on page 21. And on page 21, there's a little boy here who's a little chubby, and his tummy is showing. And Dave Messing said that was me when I was in the 5th grade. And I have to tell you that everyone in the class laughed at me, called me names, and I still think of myself as the fatso that people called me that year in school. And then he said, I only remember one person who was nice to me, and I drew him on this page too. And he says he was the only bucket filler in my class that didn't call me names and included me in situations. And there's a little bucket filling story that I think that you can share if you don't have one on your own. But share your story and help your children understand that these things can happen and get them prepared for it. As Sandy Richardson says in the article, which I hope you will read, see bullying as a behavior, not as a negative label that you put on someone. It is a sign of an empty bucket, and it is also a sign of someone who has learned a bad habit. We live in a very bucket-tipping world where we think it's funny to call people names and to make fun of people and to hurt them and humiliate them. And we have to see that it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with the person who's doing it and their empty bucket. That will help them realize that just like hurricanes, it's not directed at us. That we don't take it quite so personally, but we have to be prepared. I think another important thing to prevent the damage from bullying is to teach children that they have lids. You see, this is my full bucket right here, and it's full of all kinds of good thoughts and happy feelings, and most of the time it's like this. But every once in a while I run into a person or a situation that dips into my bucket and takes out some of those good thoughts and feelings, and as soon as I feel that, I have to stop and think about what's going on here. And that's putting a lid on my bucket and helping me stop and think and learn about the situation and be prepared. I think it's important to teach our children that we have lids for our own buckets, but also that we can be lids for others and that we can help them. One of the things that most impressed me with this hurricane was the number of people that volunteered to help others as the storm was approaching, during the storm, and after the storm. And they were lids for others so that other people were kept safe. And we have to tell our children to be stand-up people, to speak up, and to get into action when we see someone else that is being hurt or humiliated because someone hasn't learned how to be nice. That's my message for Bully Prevention Month, but think of it as Bully Damage Prevention Month and prevent it in all areas. So thanks for listening for us today. Have a bucket filling month, and I'll see you again next month. Thanks for being here. Bye.